Yeah, potato, potato. These all work. Yo, 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 yo. What up? What up? What up? What's going on? Oh, yeah. Hey, Jordan, what's up? Mr. Shoesmith, good day yesterday. What you up to? What are you watching? All right, all right, all right, all right. All right, let's get to work here. So hey, we got fucking big gap up with the market. 1.5%. We basically just retraced most of yesterday's decline. It looks like the Tesla earnings have kind of propped up the market. You got 10% move on Tesla is pretty big. Really, this is the only stock that's been really kind of holding up near some semblance of resistance at this point. So this is going to be probably something that kind of lifts up the market. So yesterday the market tanked on the Netflix news, and then now we've got Tesla going the opposite way. So that's just the kind of the nature of the game. The market has been real slow the last period of time. So now the earnings season is kind of coming underway. Hopefully we'll be able to kind of get out of this box that we're in. You can see here, we just been in this box for a few days, maybe a week or so. And when you're stuck in range, that's obviously that's the hardest type of trading to do. Trend trading is very easy, up or down. You're just hitting dips or pops or whatever. Essentially your patterns tend to work much cleaner. When you're stuck in this kind of range, even though it's a more volatile range than what normally would be, it gets a little bit tricky because it's you have one day, you have a big down day, and then you're like, okay, they'll be followed through. Then you have a big up day, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then they're like, maybe it's a reversal. Then the next day you're getting smoked out again. And, so in essence, it's kind of opposite thing. So your range trading is a little bit more tricky. So if you really kind of think about the levels that, we've got to kind of trade around at the moment, this is our box on the QQQs, and the SPY and IWM have held up much better. But, in general, nobody really trades. This ain't 1982. This is not 1982. Nobody watches SPY anymore. So you got 336, probably 347 is the box. So really, you're not going to you'll get this kind of one day up, one day down. Gaps will fade a lot when you're stuck inside range till, you start to clear out some of these levels and the market picks a little bit of a direction. Till then, there's not much to do except just trade, really, really good setups and make sure you're timing it around the supply and demand zones. Let's take a look and see what kind of earnings plays are out there. Then we'll kind of go to the regular watch list. And one thing is, I would not be swing trading probably in this market. But in general, I use a 9 EMA, 20 SMA, 50 SMA, 200 SMA. Sometimes some Bollinger Bands. This is the layout I use on my chart. Stochastics you can use also. Okay, so these airlines all got American Airlines Group posted narrow adjusted loss, higher revenue, issue some guidance. We can probably play these. You know how I fucking feel about airlines. Don't get me started on trading airline stock. But this, it may, because they all got earnings out today, we may get a one day of glory on these things. You can see here, United Airlines adjusted loss now, revenue surge. So they're all giving basically the same kind of probably update. And they're getting a bunch of upgrades on them. When you get an earnings play and then you get the magic number is 3. If you get 3, 4 upgrades or more coming in hot, when you couple that with earnings, you actually end up with some, nice, you can get some nice juice. I add these for now, UAL. AL is always a little bit easier to trade. You can see here it's also Alaska Group. This one has pretty low liquidity, so I didn't include that. But all of these will move together. Blackstone, fucking banks, airlines. What's the world coming to, right? This is probably another one that looks like Blackstone earnings, revenue decline versus quarter. To raise $7 billion for green edge. I don't know if any of that really matters. This has actually got enough ATR to trade. It's about $5. I prefer like $100 stock to have a little closer to 8 to 10. This is probably something that might have some juice to. Bank stocks are really shitty to trade. This one, who knows exactly what's going down on this one, but that's probably something you could put on your list. I'm gonna no banks for life thing. Hey, so this SEV yesterday was an inside day. Fuckers better wait. Oh, that was my favorite play for today. So yes, after this big day from 4 to 8, you had an inside day. So when you have a narrow range day after like a big move, it's called an inside day. Usually if you get 2, it's even better, but usually 1 is enough. You get inside day. If you start to come out of this range here, watch that kind of 860 mark. You may start to get released, but if it holds up here, we'd probably preempt it, right? By the time it gets to 860, it'll be up 15, 16%. You want to kind of, as you get into, right, getting past those supply zones, you want to start looking much more closely and get into this now. As you know, small caps are notoriously fickle. So, you have to trade this kind of thing very, very small. You want to be, and ATRs will obviously expand on earnings day. So that's something to just be mindful of, right? That's not really made to account for news days or earnings days, because it's just like taking your last 5, 10 regular trading days. So ATRs do expand on. So you have to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Going back to SEV, this will be the spot over here, like where it'll be a release point. I think, tis the season. I mean, earnings season, you got a little flag over here. I think that's probably something that can be played. Let's add that to the list. Oh, you see this? And this one. Withdraws mass mandate in public. Sweet. We'll just be out coughing each other's faces. Just the way I like it. Now you can finally start making out with chicks again at the airport. It's a good day. It's a good day. You can add in all of these. I think you want to go with the 2 ones that have news out, but frankly, these are like smaller gaps, and they could just follow just the same. You can add those. HUT, this is Bitcoin mining stock, chunk. And you can see here, this TQQ, ETF, Cook. So obviously, if the airlines are going to go, you might start to see some action in, right, some of these cruise lines. They've been kind of stuck in a little bit of range. You can see like you could probably start to maybe clear out of some of this zone over here. So, you got Norwegian, which is like a little bit under the 200 SMA. And then you have CCL, Cook. Man, what a name, Cook. And then I think RCL's probably got the best chart out of the group. So that'll be something. I think that's probably worth a gander. This one's actually been a decent trader over the years. So if you need like some kind of travel play, I think that Expedia and RCL are probably have the 2 cleanest charts in terms of just release points on the daily. Both of them are like notoriously fickle for having big monster cock spreads and then being a little bit light on liquidity. And Airbnb probably has Airbnb has a similar look to it also. It just is a fucking bitch to trade. Like if anybody's ever traded, I don't think I've ever been. I mean, we get faked out of stocks all the time, don't we? But Airbnb's got to be at the top of, oh shit, I bought 30 cents too high, bid gets pulled, fucking thing smacks down $1, and then you're like, fuck, god damn, I did it again. Airbnb's an okay, so we can do this one too. It'll move all the same. It's got the better ATR out of the group, that's for sure, but just something to be mindful of. This fucking thing it shakes out all the time. You don't no volume momentum oscillators. You just really need moving averages. Candles, Ryan. Oscillators are, but they just don't work. There's no evidence that they work. You know, there's like specific instances, like if you're looking for something in an extreme cases, they can give you confirmation. But in general, nobody makes money off oscillators. You just can't. But it is a good way to sell some products. Guys, I got the special indicator. You know, like now they make indicators on fucking TradingView and they call them algos. Like, guys, I got my own special algo. It's a fucking TradingView indicator of like a bunch of bullshit. And people sell them now. Hey guys, I have a script on my think or swim. It's like, oh, I need a float rotation indicator. It's like, oh, you can't do basic mathematics of taking the volume and divided by the float. Don't want to do it, Ryan. Think, support, resistance, supply, demand. Moving averages to just help you confirm some things, like in terms of trends, you know, and then really think about like setups, list of conditions that must trigger before a trade is taken. I fucking hate trading banks. And I'm biased on it. I don't know if that's like, I don't have any statistical evidence that they just stuck to this trade besides more of an anecdotal thing of like, they never fucking move. They're really thick stocks, and then they just don't have the range you need. Yeah, fuck this thing too. All right, let's see on the downside what we got here. What day are we at? All right, Xerox. Oh, that's no buenos. Xerox swings to adjusted loss at revenues. Man, Xerox machines were the shit. It's like that first time, like you Xerox like your butt on the machine and like give it to one of your coworkers is like the most epic moment. It's like a top 10 moment for an adult. Like your first butt Xerox. Man, this thing's a breakdown. I can't believe this company's still around. You know what? Let's add that. If the liquidity is there, we might be able to do something. This I could get down with. Alcoa, log revenue misses expectations, blah, 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 blah. You got a key breakdown over here. You got a key breakdown over here. You know, this has been like on a big tear the last couple of years. But if you actually look at kind of like where it's been at like the last month, it's showing like a little bit of a topping action on this. You know, if this doesn't get bought up at the open, it'll probably squeeze up a little bit at the open. But I think we can try to fade this thing into the pop. I like that. What do you think? Good, good, good. Let's add that to the 6 windows. CVNA is another one. Fuck Carvana. Who buys a car from them? Downgrade, 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 downgrade. Selling comments. So they got an offering plus Q1 loss misses. Like who's losing money in the used car game? Add it. This one, that might be our top play for a short. I think Carvana too is not too thick. We could actually do an ORB to it. You know, ideally, you know, a quick pullback short is a little bit more of a longer play, right? Because you got to really watch it for like 15, 20, 30 minutes. But I think Carvana is actually able to, I think this will be able to be possibly even ORBs. True. I wonder what kind of cars they got. Hey, Netflix for day 2 play. Guys, we're going to narrow down this list. Watch how it reacts around yesterday's lows. You know, you had a pretty much a base after about 10 a.m. Chris Schussman, good job on showing the chocolate thunder out to this thing. You did a good job yesterday. You got probably day 2 play on this one. Let's add that to the list. We're going to narrow the list down. I think in Netflix, you may even be able to, we may be able to even preempt ORB if it just breaks under yesterday's lows. I think today, guys, you got to have to be real careful today too, because we have this fucking, we have a pretty big gap up, but we're also going in, I wouldn't say top of the range, right? But we're like actually in worse spot, which is, we're like mid top of the range. So like we're on the top half of the range, and then we're the top half of the range. So we're in the top half of the range. So it's like what, 75%. That's a tricky spot, especially with you get a gap up. Remember what happened yesterday too. Now part of this was just the Netflix earnings, but like you can see, like we had a gap up yesterday. It was maybe much less, 0.3, 0.4%, and we fucking spiked it down right off at the open. Now a lot of that was just the sentiment changing, because Netflix gapped down like 25% and kept going. Tesla earnings kind of changed that they're a much bigger company than Netflix now in terms of market cap. So their impact on the QQQs and probably overall sentiment can be much different. If that holds, then, we may be able to hold here. If you start to see fucking Tesla roll this gap, because it is up quite a bit for like a thicker stock. If you start to see this thing fucking fade its gap, then that, that puts the selling back on. Now the odds of it fading a 10% gap is very small, but that's something we'll have to be mindful of just because of the market conditions of like, right, good earnings will still get smoked a majority of the time in this market. Additionally, I did not, but I've been out of the loop I haven't been checking. 3 million is, he's got it. We got AAL, Tesla, UAL, SEV. An offshoot of Tesla, guys, if Tesla starts to go, right? If Tesla starts to go and it holds here, we want to start looking at Rivian and Lucid, and see if they pick up some steam. Corvette. Might as well start drinking Monster energy drinks and get wraparound Oakleys. Maybe a skull tattoo on my arm. I'm going to put a little string around the back end of my Oakleys. Keep them on my neck all day. Slug and Monster energy drinks. Saying goddamn right. Fuck it, man. Hey, you see that? You see that ZR1 over there? Fuck. No Corvettes. Okay, this is gonna be a busy day, folks. This is gonna be a busy day. We get AL. Let's narrow these down. I think this is probably low end of the totem pole. Netflix day 2. I think that's still 6 windows worthy. You may have to go to log scale on it because of, to kind of see it a little bit better. Just because the scale is going to be all fucked because it just gapped down so much. Sometimes if you do that, you may have to change around, go into log or some different type of scale. It should be okay for now. On the big gap days, like, you may have to go out and do a log. Yeah, Netflix. I think we add in this fucking Alcoa and CVNA 6 windows worthy too. Hey Ryan, look for, for beyond just, you have to they work a lot better when you have trending environment. In general, moving averages, Bollinger Bands, these are like secondary supports and resistance. The big ones are really price support, those levels of congestion that make up supply and demand zones. I think those are going to be always really, really important when you're looking at this stuff. And then what indicators do is they help you confirm price. So, the big thing is always price. And then, when you overlay certain indicators or even moving averages, they're essentially there as confirmation of what your eyes are already telling you. So that'll be something that's really important when you're going through. Wes, don't you got a girlfriend? CVNA. All right, let's move. Let's start kind of changing around our windows a little bit. Start narrowing these things down. I think we go Netflix, CVNA, Alcoa on the earnings side. We should probably put in Tesla as the tell, right? The market tell. If this goes, then we want to start adding in, the second 6 windows, layouts, right? Keep a spot for Rivian, Lucid, AL, UAL. And I never go to school. All right, we got 12. Today's going to be a busy day, folks. We got more than enough ideas. We just going to have to, the hard part is really just going to be the fucking gap in the market. As you know, if you do any statistics on any of our days trading, right? The days when the market gaps up 1.5% are notoriously difficult at the open. Usually you get one big dip at the open, and then you have to figure out, is this a green to red or is this a bounce, right? And that decision right there marks whether you're going to have a decent day or a fucking shitty day. It's very, very hard to chase 1.5% gaps, especially in a bear market. We're in a bear market. We've been in one since first week of November. Fuck, it looks like a jizz on my glasses. And the homeless man. Not jizz. All right, let's do this, folks. Let's have some good old-fashioned God-fearing Christian fun today. Hey, boot camp class starts tonight. I would parcel out 8 p.m. I would parcel out about 2 hours. The first class is always more intensive just because you got to get a lot of the legwork out of the way.